Hi, my name is Jessica Dobbs, and this is a lesson PowerPoint that I did for a kindergarten class this past semester for my clinical hours. So, in the kindergarten classroom, there wasn't a lot of time for science, unfortunately, according to the kindergarten teacher. And so, every time I taught a lesson, I did something with science because I seen that the students weren't getting enough because there just was a lack of time. And so this was my first lesson that I taught in this classroom out of 3, and so I did this PowerPoint. And so it's called Building Nest. And so to begin with, what are some things that birds need to live? That's what I asked the class. And because the week before they had went over what do animals need to survive. So in their class, they went by shelter, protection, food, and water. So that's what birds need. That's what animals need to survive. And so I wanted to check for comprehension and see if they could take that and see the connection for a specific type of animal. And so what are some things that birds need to live? And so you have food. And then I did this picture, and it shows a nest and water in the background. And so I was going to see if they could make the connection that, well, a bird may build a nest beside this creek or river so that it can have access to water really easily. And so right here you've got the food and then water, shelter, and protection with the nest. And so we focused on, what does the nest provide a bird? So it provides shelter and protection. And I put a picture of a mother and its babies in the nest because the bird has to leave and go get food, and she made the nest so that it can protect the babies. And so I was in an engineering class for education this past semester, and there was a really big focus on STEM and STEAM learning. And so I love STEM learning. I think that it teaches a lot of things that are outside of actual content area stuff that students need to have, like perseverance and working together and collaborating. That is just really important. So that's why I decided to do this lesson. And so with this PowerPoint, I showed a real nest, a real bird's nest, compared to what we were going to do with a peep nest. And this was around Easter, so it was really easy to get these peeps. And so the idea behind it was, you have the linking blocks that are used for counting a lot. So there was a ton of them in kindergarten. And your tree, which was the counting blocks, had to be at least 10 cubes high. It could be higher, and I capped them at 15 blocks high. But it had to be at least 10, and then you could use a Dixie cup and toothpicks, or you could use a bigger plastic cup and pipe cleaners. Everybody chose to use the pipe cleaners and the bigger cup, which meant they had to have more than one tree. And so I put this up there for them just to give them a little bit of an idea. And so then I went over some rules, just some basic things, just to set the lesson just for success. And so one of the ones I was very, very surprised that went very well was not eating the peeps or like messing them up. Everybody was very respectful, and they did not do that at all. So I feel like me going over each of these rules with the students really helped this lesson be successful and for lots of learning. And so this is the sheet that I gave them. And as a table, I just had them fill out the blueprint part, and then I had them fill out how many cubes high is my nest, and then how many peeps fit in my nest. And then the questions, materials we went over together, the questions we went over at the end of the class. And so I went around, and every student had to make one of these. I had to fill one of these sheets out in the blueprint part. And then they had to draw it on a whiteboard, and I had to prove it before they could build. And so then I had each group come up, and this was a really big part of communication and public speaking in the class, and it really helped. They all shared the easiest part, the hardest part, and how tall their tree was and how many birds they got to stay in their nest. And each person in the group had an assigned job, so each person got to speak and talk a little bit about their project. And so then we connected to real life. How is it similar, and what challenges they face a real bird might face?